Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad to be worshiping with you this morning. I know that Lisa has opened us in prayer and read the scripture to us, so I'm going to get right into it. Stop me if you've heard this one. Oh, wait, you can't. A red string, a green string, and a white string walk into a bar. They walk up and they sit down and ask the bartender for an adult beverage, and he looks at them and says, "We don't serve strings here." They protest and protest until finally the bartender has to ask them to leave. Once outside, they come up with a plan, with the red string being the leader. They tangle themselves up together and they fray their edges a little bit and walk back in and sit down, ask the bartender for a beverage, and he looks at them and says, "I told you, we don't serve strings here. You're strings, aren't you?" And the red one, as leader, says, "No, I'm afraid not." I know you're laughing. Yeah. This passage from Ecclesiastes is often referred to as God's knot. It's a blueprint from God on how we should live life together. As two or three or more coming together, weaving and tangling together to accomplish life and work as a community. It is God's answer to the biggest questions we face in life. I want to ask you, if you had to use just one word to characterize our life at this time, what would it be? The word I hear most often is fear. Fear of the unknown. And here are some of the questions we face. What is COVID? Will I get it? Will someone I love get it? When will it be over? And what is life going to look like when it is? When will I get to be with people again? All these questions can be answered by God. God has an answer to fear, and it is community. Community is God's answer to fear. The opposite of fear is love. And our God is a God of love. The love God shows for us, the love we show for God, and the love we show to each other. We are designed to connect. We are created to be in community. There's a great deal of research that shows that if we don't have healthy relationships, we're going to flounder. We seek relationships from the moment we're born, and we cry to attract attention. We can't escape the need to connect. The technological advancements we've enjoyed in the last few years promise connection. We even evaluate and are judged by how well we're connected, by how many friends we have on social media. But despite the many ways humans can connect digitally, the percentage of people who report feeling lonely has increased greatly, from 11 to 20% in the 70s and 80s to almost 60% in 2020, according to a recent survey. So here we are, more connected than ever, and yet so many of us are feeling alone. And that is never more true than right now, when we are forced to self-isolate and encouraged to stay home. But now, our social media platforms are actually doing the work of keeping us connected. Instead of separating us, they are ensuring that we continue connecting during this time of social distancing and isolation. We are being community. We are being church and combating that loneliness with the use of our technologies. I think we are changing those statistics because we have to. We are turning to these ways of communicating because we need to be together. God gives us the blueprint for getting through life, the reason that we need to be in community, and we hear that in this passage from Ecclesiastes. It's a passage that we often only hear at weddings, but I think it is all about friendship. This incredible passage outlines for us the reasons we so desperately need to be genuinely connected. Hear what it says. If either should fall, you can pick each other up. If two lie down together, they can stay warm. Also, one can be overpowered, but two together can put up resistance. And lastly, a 3-ply cord doesn't easily snap. We are here on this earth, in this community of faith, to help each other, to uphold each other, to hold each other, even if it's virtually, to strengthen each other, and to face adversity together. 1 Corinthians 12:26 says, if one member suffers, all suffer with it. And if one member is honored, all rejoice together with it. Suffering together, rejoicing together, that is community. Romans 12:15 says, laugh with your happy friends when they're happy, share tears when they're down. Because as much as we come together in the good times, it is in adversity that we truly cement our friendships. Love grows deepest when we suffer together. That's the deepest level of friendship. When you share a pain, when you share a hurt, when you share a heartache, and you enter in and you share that with somebody else who's going through a tough time, like we are right now. Suffering unifies people. It brings people together. Because when you go through suffering, if it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger. And it will draw you closer. We've seen that over the course of this COVID crisis, haven't we? People, all of us, suffering together. We are coming together in amazing ways. The slogan for us has become, we are all in this together. And we are. All in this together, sharing this pandemic with the help of community. Galatians 6:2 says, share each other's troubles and problems, and in this way you obey the law of Christ. Because the bottom line is, it's all about relationships. When someone's on their deathbed, I am fairly certain they never say, please bring me my diplomas, I want to look at them one more time. Nobody's ever said, bring me my Little League trophies or my bowling trophies. Nobody ever says, bring me my stock certificates. Because when someone's dying, things don't comfort. Eventually, everyone realizes that it's relationships that matter in life. Relationships are more important than accomplishments. Relationships are more important than achievements. Relationships are more important than success. And relationships are definitely more important than money. Because life is about learning how to love. It's about having friendships and being in community. The two most important lessons in life. Learning how to love God and learning how to love other people. That's what it means to be part of a church family, part of Christ's body. Romans 12:10, be devoted to each other like a loving family. Bible says we're supposed to treat each other as sisters and brothers. We are in the family of God, as committed to each other as we are to Jesus Christ. This church is all about community. We are each other's support network, cords woven together, tangled up together in love, to support each other in times of trial such as this, when we get a little frayed around the edges. We're strengthening each other in this time. Remember the scene from the commercial where the elderly person has fallen and they say, "Help, I've fallen and I can't get up." This commercial is selling a service to people to ask for help. How many people in real life fall and have no one to buzz? Not in this community. Not in this faith family. We are here for one another through all things. Proverbs tells us a righteous man can fall 7 times and still get back up every time. Could it be that it is due to having real friends who don't just cheer when you win, but they also comfort when you crash? Because we all need a hand up now and again. During this time, we see this more and more. And we are seeing our communities, our faith community, offering a hand, offering to get groceries or run errands, clapping and cheering for our frontline workers at 7 o'clock every night. This community of faith with hands that offer food and friendship and everything else. Ecclesiastes tells us that this friendship is absolutely vital to our well-being. Friends can laugh with you and cry with you. Friends can pick you up when you fall. Friends can cheer you up when you fail. Friends can face the worst with you. These are the benefits of community. These are the perks of partnerships, the favor of friendship. This is the luxury of love. Everybody knows John 3:16, for God so loved the world. But most people don't know 1 John 3:16. We know what real love is because Christ gave his love for us. So we ought to give up our lives for our Christian brothers and sisters. That's the kind of love Jesus has for you. And that's the kind of love we should have for each other. Holding each other, upholding each other, supporting and encouraging and sharing life with each other. I want to share a story with you. It's an old one, but it's pretty good. War in Vietnam was building to its peak, and one stop for young Army officers was the 1st Ranger School at Fort Benning. And a tough, battle-tested sergeant stood before anxious young retreats and told them that the next 9 weeks would be the toughest they had ever experienced. The sergeant said that many wouldn't make the grade. It was just too tough. Sergeant talked about the war that was going on in Vietnam, and he talked about killing and death. He talked about how training was tough because it was designed to save lives. And he said he was going to do that by making them face their greatest fears, overcome their weaknesses, and endure what they never dreamed possible. Then the sergeant announced what step 1 was going to be. And they were surprised by its simplicity. They were told to find a buddy. He said, you need to find yourself a ranger buddy. You will stick together. You will never leave each other. You will encourage each other, and as necessary, you will carry each other. There it is. God's blueprint, God's knot. Sticking together. Community is God's answer to fear, to doing life. That's why it is so imperative that we come together in any way we can as a community of faith. Meetings like this on Sunday morning, Zoom calls and meetings, sharing our challenges and concerns on Facebook or Instagram, connecting with each other via email or text or picking up the phone. So I come back to my original question. If you were going to use one word to characterize this time in our lives, what would it be? And I think as we look back on it, the answer will be community. I think that's what we'll see as the defining word for this time. And I want to challenge you to reach out and connect with each other this week. We are all in this together, weaving the strands of community together into an unbreakable cord founded in love. Be safe, be well. You are beloved, my friends. Have a good week.